All right, I think we will get started. Uh, People will drop in a bit, but I'm going to do some introductions, so I think it's fine for us to start. Welcome. My name is Lova Lekaregraf, and I am coming to you from my living room in Järpen, northern Sweden. And we have Bjarte with us as well. I will let him introduce himself very soon. But today we are gonna talk about what you need to know about the Citizen app. And we do these webinars a few times a month. Usually we have some guests with us and we talk about different subjects when it comes to citizen communication and citizen involvement and a lot of different subjects. But today we're going to keep it pretty straight to the point to our citizen app. And you are free to ask us any questions that you have about implementations, how to run it, how to promote it, everything. Just fire away with questions. You have the chat in the bottom of the screen, or the Q&A is fine to use as well. So if you want to just send us a question, or if you have any issues with the streaming or anything, just let us know there and we will try to help you out. Yes, Bjarte, I think you can switch slide. Thank you. And we are in Zoom today, and usually there is some kind of line which you can drag a bit to get more of our beautiful faces, or less of them if you don't want to look at them too much, or more at the presentation. And yeah, as I said, if you want to let us know something or ask us something, just use the chat or the Q&A function. And yes, let's get to the next slide. Bjarte, as I said, is with us, and he is CEO, and I think you are the most well spoken about introducing us. You're the most used to talking about us, I think. So, who are we?
Thank you, Lova, and thank you everyone for joining us. We're happy to see that we have participants from many countries in Europe. And we do think that these topics that we bring up today are quite well timed in a way. We'll talk more about that later. First of all, who are Code? We're a small company. We are about 10 of us in the organization here in the Nordics. Divided in Norway and Sweden. We're quite distributed. Myself, I'm outside of Stockholm. Stockholm is ice cold today, I think 13 minus. I'm staying at home for this webinar, not due to the cold mainly, but that as well. We have a big innovation tech hub in Lviv in Ukraine. We have been organized like this for almost 15 years since Innocode was established, and one of our co-owners, Valery, is from Ukraine, and he's currently busy with other stuff in the Ukrainian army. But about 35 of our people are located in Lviv, working with development of our own products that we're going to talk about today, of course, and also service design and service development, innovation development for other companies and public sector. So today the focus will be our citizen products, mainly focusing on the citizen app. So bit of strategic entry points first, I think. We do talk to Nordic and Norwegian and Swedish municipalities on a daily basis, and we are currently involved in partnerships or client relations with 50 municipalities in Norway, Sweden. This that we're doing now is an attempt at of course, launching our solutions on an international market. We'll get back to that in the end, as we have a pretty concrete pilot offering for municipalities in other countries. I'm sure most of you are aware that public sector quite tend to look to other municipalities and other cities and would want a proof of concept before going with the solution. Hence, we see that we do need to give a good pilot offering to open the first cases in new markets. So that's pretty much what this is about, isn't it? We really believe we have a solution that can help cities and municipalities, and we would like to try it, to try get a proof of concept, if you will, in other countries too. So strategically, we do see that many local governments trust their websites, of course, as a main channel of communication. That is indeed an inbound channel, isn't it? We see that the expectation with many local governments is that the citizen is going to come to them to the website to look for the content they need. That covers some of the communication need, I would say, but not all. And we really believe that there is a need, and we do see this with our cases in the Nordics. There is a case for another outbound channel where you can actually, from the inside of the local government, decide that we need to communicate this now to this target group, to very specific target groups, and actually work with proactive communication. At least in Norway, Sweden, and this outbound activity, this outbound channel has been put in the hands of third-party channels for many years, especially Facebook, I would say, even Twitter, and now X, if you go back 4 or 5 years. But we do see that this is being questioned a bit, and I'm sure the same discussions are ongoing in new countries. We also try to approach a strategic entry point that we see. Get into that, called what we call local invisibility in digital channels. To answer what we mean by that, we go. And we also try to build a closer relationship in our communities between the citizen and the local governments. We see that in many cases this is lacking at large degrees. End game of this, of course, by building an outbound channel, is something that is on top of the agenda for many local governments at the moment. Preparedness in different forms and shapes of crisis, weather, climate change, the regular sort of crisis on an everyday basis with water, electricity, internet, and all this kind of stuff. But also the worst kind of crisis are being discussed in our country, and we do see that locally we don't really have a channel to reach our citizens in these events, and it is potentially quite dramatic that we can't reach people in a timely manner. We'll have a look at some examples, of course. Lova, if you do see some questions or anything, please interrupt me.
I will. I will
First,
jump on in.
yeah, yeah. So first of all, this matter of the local digital invisibility is I find it to be quite interesting because we did ask Nordic citizens a few years back if you want to know what's going on locally, and that is from the local government, from the municipality, from the city, but also from this sea of different players that has a role in our local communities, being the sports club, the cultural institution, the library, the everything really that plays an important role. There are a lot of important players in our local communities, and it is quite hard for the citizen to get an overview of everything that is going on. We do see that if we can help local communities with this, we do get more engaged communities, because if you know what's going on, it is easier to participate, isn't it? It's quite. Uh, the local communities in the Nordics are typically digitally very fragmented. The football club is going to have their own website. The library is going to have their own Facebook page. The municipality has a web page, and these are all separate channels. So for me as a citizen to get an overview of what's going on, I need to visit all these different platforms. which we can't really maybe expect from the citizen, I would say. So the main idea with our solution is to try to pull the value of all these small narrow channels, pull them into one to make one stronger local channel. We'll look into the details of this. Because when it comes to reaching our citizens and when it comes to sort of building digital channels for our local communities, we have been trusting these guys for many years, and we see that there's, and for many reasons, data integrity, ethics, you could say, but also efficiency really of communication. There is a trend now that local governments are looking in other directions, to put it carefully, than just these. It is kind of bizarre, I would say, to think back maybe 5 years when the police authorities of both Norway and Sweden, their main outbound channel, they used Twitter, currently X. And with the angle and the algorithm changes in this channel today, I think it says everything about the risks of putting this communication in a third-party algorithm-driven channel. We can't control the message. We can't control the weighing of messages. We can't control the timing. We can't really control the communication at all because it's really up to this X, if you will, of these channels. So I really think it's important to consider, is this where we want to put all our resources? In Sweden, we have had a pretty big thing going the last few months where one of the bigger newspapers did this research on municipalities and their boosting of content on Meta. And they did publish a list of municipalities in Norway, with some of them spending as much as up to, what would that be in euro, 1.5 million euros annually on driving traffic on Meta's channel. This is, of course, I would say, hard to comprehend, but it's sort of many small decisions. Many small departments has a message, has a recruitment, has something that they want to get across, and then they put a few thousand into this message to boost this post on Facebook, and then all in all, it accumulates into quite big sums of money that are put into these global giants, you could say. And if you look at that money and consider what if we try to build our own channel with this money, there is quite a lot that could be done with the same resources. So I think it's interesting to consider, how do we actually spend our money in communication, and how can we build something stronger together? That's pretty much what it's all about, isn't it? And this is what it comes down to, really. We have seen in our surveys that the average Nordic citizen is in contact with their municipality on average twice a year, if the web is the measurement. So we visit the municipal web on average twice a year per citizen. And usually, if you have a very concrete need, you want to apply for a building permit, or you want to apply for a daycare for your kids, or something very specific like that. And we see most of the Nordic municipal websites, they are moving from some sort of news oriented approach 5, 10, 15 years back, and into pure service webs, really, where you enter, you search your service, and you do your service. We've sort of given up on the idea of this being a news platform, which is reasonable, I would say. We don't really visit the local government website for this. So that means we need to build other channels to establish this sort of ongoing relationship and with the citizen. So, and we also see that digital consumers of 2026 is what we're in now, isn't it? They really expect this from all their other apps and all their other sort of environments where they consume digital media. We do expect people to do expect things to come to us and not always be the ones searching for stuff. And so we do see that we from public sector we need to be more proactive in our channel choices. I would say in our channel strategies, and this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to with an Enicode Citizen app, we're trying to turn inbound content from web from different channels into outbound channel content by pushing it into an app and being able to utilize the native functionality of your phone to create push notifications, to create widgets, to create this sort of daily usage of the content. Because this is sort of the end game, isn't it? The preparedness. We did talk briefly about it, but this is sort of before we get here at different levels of preparedness, we want to make sure we build the channel. And I'm going to use this expression quite a bit, building the channel. And what it means to us is really just to get downloads on this app. Because if you establish an app, I mean, this is the problem, isn't it? Okay, we want to build an app, but do people want this app? The main problem. Because before we can actually get a fair amount of downloads on this, it's not a channel, is it? Because then you just communicate with yourself. So the big job here, let's be honest, is to actually build such an interest on this platform, on this app, so that your citizens actually would like to have this in their phone. And when you've done that, when you have like Sandefjord in Norway, for example, or like Västerås here in Sweden, when you have built an app that gets 20, 30, 40% of your citizens to download this, then you have, by reaching 30, 40% of your citizens, you probably reach maybe 50, 60, 70% of your households. And then you're starting to create an app that can actually make a difference in these kind of situations. This is an example from many years back when Botkyrka outside of Stockholm had big fires in their garbage stations. They had no channel. Talk to the head of communications, what he did. And they had no outbound channel. They put this on the web, and then they had to trust the local press. They had to trust the national press to distribute this to the citizens. And it ended up with them doing because the only registers they had was postal addresses. Yeah, so they ended up doing postal sendouts to the household. And yeah, you can imagine it's not really second by second communication, is it? It took them like 2 days to get a single message out into the inboxes, and that's not the digital inboxes; it's the postal inboxes in Botkyrka. So I mean, these things happen, and they happen more and more frequently. We see it by weather, just in the Nordics, the storm Johannes and the storm whatever they're called, Anna and whatever. It happens more frequently, and we do get these needs more frequently due to climate, due to political instability, due to a lot of reasons. So let's get to the point. The citizen platform. This is what we believe is needed to create a better form for your citizens. In the Unicode Citizen app, there is a level of personalization. That means when you download the app, we do not ask you to sign in because we don't want you to add or give us your personal details yet. Why don't we want you to log in? Well, because there's something called GDPR, and we can't really ask for that kind of login information or personal information identified before we actually need it something specific. So that means the day the citizen goes through the citizen app into an individual service to apply for a building permit, that's when you ask him to log in, yeah? Not before, because you're not really allowed to do that. So what we do instead is that we ask them a few simple questions. Where in the region do you live? What town, what village, what part of the municipality do you live? We ask them to give us some information about their life situation or their interests. So you're interested in sports, or you have a family with children, and a few sort of segments like that. Based on this segmentation information, we can package the information in the app and provide an interface that has a higher relevance to you as an individual than you would if we just sent the same data to everyone. Another important cornerstone of our platform is what we call always update. And by that, we mean that we don't expect the municipality to create unique content for yet another. We don't think the municipality wants to create unique content for yet another channel. So 95% of the content in our apps are gathered from other channels, from the municipal website, from their social media, so on. So it's just a matter of integrating content that you're already creating, and then especially from web content, creating outbound push notifications out of these sort of inbound news posts that you do. So it's a matter of no double publishing, most or all content sourced from existing CMS, open data, sensors, other chosen website. We'll have a look at some examples. Still, with this automated content from local government websites and stuff, we don't really believe that this is sufficient to create an app, a weekly interest with the citizen. We don't, this is not, I don't want to be critical in any way, but quite often this content from local governments is not maybe high interest with the citizen. It's important, of course, but it's not maybe the most entertaining, it's not maybe so what we think that we need to do and what we have succeeded with in many Nordic cities to provide these layers of local information, not only from the city, not only from the local government, but from a broader range of players. So we have this tool called In a Code Calendar or community event. It's a distributed tool where you can invite in all the different organizations in your civil society, and you can ask them to post their events into this. It's easy for the citizen to choose. I'm interested in this organizer and this organizer and this organizer, and in that way package their own relevance panel for local events. So we see that this is a really important engine for our app usage on a weekly basis, because this also gives me as a citizen the opportunity to automatically receive push notifications when my favorite organizations are publishing their event. So if I'm into football and I want to see the local Division 3 team, previously the expectation has been that I need to go to their website once every week to check when the next game is. We try to turn that around and we say, okay, tell me you're interested in the football team, and we'll send you push notifications when they publish an event, so that you don't miss their team, their games. That's quite a simple way of just keeping proactive, keeping people in the loop, really. So we have the community events tool. It provides a collected event overview of your local community. It is available in the app, of course. It's also available for your website if you want to integrate that data into your website. And most Swedish and Norwegian municipalities do, because we want to try to avoid doing double publishing of events and all of it. We utilize the same data, but we send it to different platforms. Let's go to the community news part of this, because it's much of the same idea as with the calendar, but it's just for news content instead. So we see that many of our clients, they use it for the wider organizations in the community, but also in some cases that we can have a look at with Västerås, for example, they quite successfully utilize this within the local government organization, because there are all these narrow communication needs in a city, for example, that maybe have more relevance to the citizen than these sort of broad overall messages. An example: news content from the local senior center in Västerås. Well, let's have a look at it later. Yeah. So to me, I live close to the senior center. They serve waffles every Tuesday at 3 p.m. I really like waffles, and this kind of communication about what's close to me, what's important to me, uh, what's affecting my everyday life is much more important than what comes from the central communication department of the city. Yeah, this sort of overhead communication. The waffles are really more important to me than the overall. So we try to, as with the calendar, we try to put this kind of news content. We put this publishing tool in the hands of the people at the senior center. They can create simple messages flowing into the interface and showing only for those citizens, telling us it's relevant. So I, as a senior center, as a senior in this part of the city, I'm going to subscribe to the news from my senior center and then package my app interface based on this. So it creates a very local, very relevant experience for me in the app. On top of this, the city can, of course, communicate their sort of central communication messages through a push tool, through different ways of communicating. So the push tool is, of course, important, where we can manually or automatically create push notifications to everyone with the app or to these segments. So the geographic segments, this group, or the seniors or the juniors or whatever. So the push tool is really important, and we see that those cities succeeding with this, they utilize this as a push, not only as a web for mobile in a way. That's really, I mean, most websites work really well on the phone anyways, don't they? So this is really a complement to the website, not in any way competing with the website. Further integrations, data integrations is quite an interesting part of this, I think. We do show for many Nordic cities, we do show traffic locally, we do show public transport locally, bridges, open, close, that kind of data, weather, just to create some sort of local connection in the app. So these kind of data integrations that can be turned into visual communication is quite interesting, I think, because it really gives us a sort of a one-stop shop, everything local. We want to create that feeling where this is an app that you actually want to relate to on a daily basis, to get an overview. Ooh, a lot of words for me today. Luva, any questions or anything?
Uh, just one about you said that the municipality has about what did you say, 2 visits a year or something from the average citizen. It was a question how many visits it is to the app instead.
Yeah, and yeah, I probably forgot that because it's an important difference there. Because we see that on average we visit a web twice a year, and we see that in our backend app statistic, really, that for those citizens who have a citizen app downloaded from their local city or so, the average interaction is maybe 4 to 6 times a month. So it's a
Mm,
quite a different frequency you can see in that, say, in that digital relationship, what
mm.
you want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's the only question I got for now.
Okay. Okay. So we talked about preparedness, and we have seen in the Nordics actually that the last year or so, there have been these storms and everything where the mobile internet is actually down. And together with one of our clients, we have been building this offline functionality, and it's being launched pretty much now, I think, Luba.
Yeah, we
Uh,
will demo it tomorrow, so
yeah, we'll have a
it's
look at
very
it
new.
tomorrow. Yeah, it's very new, but I mean, and this is not sort of rocket science in any way, I would say, but it's a simple way of making sure content is available to your citizens. But pretty much what we built is an offline possibility in the app. So usually Nordic cities, once a year, they will send out these printed brochures. I'm sure you do it in Denmark and in Poland too. In Sweden, they usually call something like "when the crisis arrives." So it's this sort of idea that, okay, you get this brochure and you're gonna put it away, and then if something really bad happens, you're gonna pull it out and find this information. That's the sort of basic idea of it. So it's typically, water stations, if we can't get to the water, meet up places and shelters and that kind of thing, in a map interface or something. What we see, of course, is that it's quite hard for an individual to think like that. I'm getting this brochure, and then I'm gonna take care of it and bring it up when it's needed. And so that's pretty much the idea that we're doing into the app. If you can get people to download your communication app, your citizen app, we put some content in there. So typically meetup places in the terms of tips and tricks and what you need in it. So this kind of static information that is needed if the internet goes down, that's going to be placed into the app, and it's going to be synced to a web source every day. So that means the day that the internet is off, out, then you have updated communication information in your phone in an offline mode. So that's the simple idea of this emergency water video, high risk areas, and so on. So these sort of maps and everything that are placed into your phone. And we see that with Swedish and Norwegian municipalities, that this is really, really appreciated because they do this brochure format, but they don't really believe in it themselves. I think that people are going to keep this brochure for the day something happens. So this is a simple way of going past that idea. So this will be live in some of our apps, I think, within a few weeks or maybe months. We did talk about data as a means of communication. And we also built this year actually what we call data tiles, which is a flexible sort of visualization platform for data. So if you do have some sort of API, IoT API that is important to you locally, then we can pull it into this environment and make it visual in a way. It's really an AI that sort of looks at the data and then interprets it and puts it into visual tiles like this. So for Alta in the north of Norway, I would say, up in Finnmark, around the bend up there. The river is a big thing, so that it floods at times. So they wanted to visualize the water levels of the river, and we built this for them. And we also have more central data integrations with Google Traffic to show the traffic levels on road XYZ that is relevant to you. We've built these public transport data integrations. We've built this weather integration, and a lot of municipalities in the Nordics want to do bathing temperatures. I don't know if that's relevant to you in Denmark and Poland and stuff, but it's sort of also a matter of not only making the app about these very serious, important things all the time, but also adding this sort of edge of fun or of more local interest. So checking the swimming temperatures in spring could be one of them. So we try to make this really a mixed interface between this sort of public communication, but also this a bit more sort of light-hearted parts like this. The right example here is an example from the national road authorities in Norway, and an integration that we've done with the sort of the national information, so that you in a backend can choose, okay, this road and this road and this road is important to us here locally. So that's going to show that the 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 most recent messaging on these roads. Even if the data is central, we try to facilitate it locally because what we see is relevant to the citizen. So data tiles, it's quite interesting, I think. Taking one step back and looking at app strategies, because many cities, and especially bigger cities, they do have apps. Stockholm, where I live, they have a lot of apps. They have 6 apps in App Store. One for air quality, one for museums, one for fix your street functionality. So this sort of report errors. One for parking, one for schooling, and so on. They even have one for your health and to compete with sort of the big. To me, this app strategy is not really relevant to me as a citizen. These sort of one single service app. that pop up, it's usually, I think, a result of the structure internally of local governments, where one department is going to be interested in air quality, so they make an app about it, and the other one is interested in parking, so they make an app about this. So say hypothetically that each of these apps from Stockholm have 50,000 downloads. What would happen if we put all these services, all these needs into one app, one framework, and called it the Stockholm app, where you could choose, I want to see the parking, I want to see the museums, I want to see the air quality, I want to see, yeah, you could make your own choices. That means you would probably get 300,000 downloads of this app. And that again would give you the opportunity to build outbound communication, to build push communication on this. None of these apps actually provide outbound communication. So they could just as well be web services in my world, because it's really based on a service that you look for. You look, so it's not, there's no real point in building them as an app. I tried to talk to Stockholm about this, but yeah, we'll see. They don't really want to listen. So um, Oslo is another good example, I think, where they have created. Oslo, as you know, is a pretty big city, about a million, bit more population. And they still see the need for a hyperlocal approach. So what they build is this My District, that where you can choose what district of the city you live in, and then the content is really packaged based on these really local needs. And this is a challenge to many bigger cities, that they can't really get this sort of local attachment or local engagement. So it's really been working well for some of the districts in see that we're sort of almost running out of time, so I'm going to speed up this a little bit. Sandefjord is one of the municipalities in Norway that have been building this together with us, really, some of these ideas, and they've been running this for almost 5 years now. And they have really succeeded in making this a main channel for the city, with more than, I think, almost 40,000 downloads on 70,000 inhabitants. So they really reach a very big portion of their citizens with this. And they have been doing so by building this gradually and really working it into the community as one of their main channels. So it's, I mean, you guys know this. These are long-term strategies. So to change the channel strategy of a whole city, it takes some time, but in the end, this makes it more controllable than going for the sort of the rental of visibility from Meta or similar player. So also strong push strategy. If you can create relevance with these push notifications, then you're going to succeed with this. Södertälje is one of the municipalities outside of Stockholm where we built many of these data integrations together with them. They're a typical commuting municipality with people commuting into Stockholm. So all of this sort of mobility data is really important to them. We've also integrated hyperlocal pollen warnings in spring, and there's a lot of this sort of IoT and sensor data that flows into this app. You can see parking, commuting parking and everything. So it really creates this sort of usefulness on a daily basis. Västerås we talked about briefly, and the most unique thing with this app, of course, is this localized public government communication from these local services that I found really interesting, because it's really easy to package the content of this app based on your local needs. And being quite a big city, 160,000 inhabitants, I think the struggle is, of course, to make communication relevant to the individual. And usually it is very sort of overhead, it is very centralized. So they've really done a great job at making this app relevant to any segments of the population, I would say. I think this is the final slide for me today. There are two ways of going into these environments. Most of the examples that we've had to look today are so-called white label apps. They're published in the name of the city on the city's accounts and App Store and Google Play and so on. But we do provide a shared environment too. We have launched shared citizen apps in Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. They're called Innbyggerappen in Denmark and Invånarappen in Sweden, and so on. So you download the generic app, and then you choose your municipality, and then the content environment is just the same as in a white label solution. But the shared nature of this, of course, makes it possible for us to to bring down the cost levels a little bit, or quite a bit actually, and it also, so it's very sort of valuable, especially maybe for smaller local governments and stuff like that. For bigger cities, they still tend to go for these white label solutions. We're also launching the shared environment in Ireland now within a month or two, together with an organization called My Coco in Ireland, My Community Council, they're called in Ireland. So I see that we do have some attendees from Denmark. There is a shared environment. That means I could quite easily put together an app interface in the shared environment for you pretty quickly if you want to have a look at
Yeah,
this would work.
that's one of the questions that we have got now is like how the time span for to start an app, the project, how big it is. And I guess
Yeah,
that depends a bit on which solution you go for.
yeah, I would say in either cases it is considered quick. This is a product. This is a framework that's ready to go, really. So I mean, we do tend to get these apps within a few weeks from the big job, of course, or big job. The job, of course, is to decide strategically on what kind of content are we going to build this app from, and that process usually takes a bit of time in the city with discussions and stuff. But then just establishing the technical environment, all this is product, of course, it's off the shelf. We usually, if you go for a shared environment in Denmark, I could get an app interface up there in 2 hours, just by pulling some content from different sources. But if you want to establish your own app, it usually takes up to, I would say, a month at least from we have a start to week until launch. So yeah, that's it's not to put it that way. It's not the big project. All the development, the tech is here just to be launched. So it's more a matter of content strategies, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. And I didn't introduce myself very well in the beginning, but I work as a project manager mostly, and I handle most of our clients in Sweden. And yeah, so I agree, it's technically not a big project. What can be the bigger part of the project is getting everybody on board and like ground the decisions within the organization and make everyone think about this channel, that it actually exists, because people are not used to it. It's like the organization is not used to having a push channel and they don't really know when and how to use it. So I think that's the biggest part of the project, just getting it rooted within the organization and get everybody on board to get it to be this kind of local, how do you say, fireplace where everybody is gathering and you get the
Mm,
local
mm,
community to gather around it. And also, if you go broader, not just like the municipality itself, but if you bring in the um, local sports team, as you say, Bjarte, maybe you need to have some meetings to get the föreningar. I'm losing words here.
Organizations and so
Organizations,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
on board and seeing that this is a channel that they can utilize. That is a work, of course, but it's very appreciated, and we see it's very well received within
Mm,
the organizations that work with kids and seniors and everything. So that part of the work is maybe more uh, cumbersome, but it's very worth it in the end. And
mm,
once you have these kind of uh, representation within the organization, you find some good teams or you find some good uh, spokesperson for it, it kind of spreads organically as
Mm.
well.
Yeah,
So
it really does help, especially I would say the smaller players in a local community. Because I mean, usually the big
mm,
players, the big football team or whatever, they would have some platforms. But if you
yeah,
look at the more niched interest groups like chess club or whatever, these smaller,
mm,
they don't have any surface with the citizens. They don't reach they have a Facebook page, with 12 followers.
mm,
So they communicate to these 12 followers, but it's so so it really helps, I would say, the diversity of the local community in getting some sort of visibility. Because what we try to do is to merge all these small channels into one so that we can support each other and the
mm.
visibility of
Yeah, and I really love that part about it. And I don't remember which municipality it was in Norway that did this now, but they have like this service to get the needs out for leaders, and they say we need this in our
it. Like a
volun.
volunteer program,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
it's a and we launched this with Sandefjord just now, where they can actually make this sort of marketplace of volunteer services, where you
Mm,
can say, okay, we need an adult to take part of this group. Do you have? Are you
mm,
interested? Or you can say, I'm a senior citizen with a lot of time. Can I do something for you? So it's
yeah,
this sort of
matchmaking.
matchmaking dating
Yeah.
platform for volunteer work. It's quite nice actually.
Yeah, I really love that because I
Mm.
can see like I'm very involved in my local community, and what we always struggle with is getting leaders and getting people who are actively engaged. So those kind of services are very well received. All right, I see that the time is very much running out. We are actually over time with a few minutes. And Bjarte, did you have more slides? I thought you were going to say something about something concrete
I
offering,
don't
which
know.
you
We've talked a lot now. So
yeah.
so these are the shared apps, and I mean all these apps are open.
Yeah.
So if you want to download them from if you're in Poland or in Denmark or in Latvia, you can. They're not blocked by IP or anything like this. This is really meant to be open communication. So if you want, I can send you some links for this, or you just search App Store for these names that you see in one of appen or in big appen or in big appen in Denmark, and they're all open to have a look at if it's Västerås or Danderyd or whatever. So, and we see that this approach here is one of the most common starting points for this sort of fix your street service that is usually or quite often in an app already. They're usually quite simple to integrate into this solution, and that makes it possible to just replace the fix your street app with this framework, and then you can build communication layers on that. So it's usually, I mean, we have a few Swedish clients that have been making that approach now. We Lova. So
Yes.
this is a way of building communication on existing 3G, you could say in a way. Yeah. So this is what we're trying to do. We're being quite transparent. Where I mean, the financial part of it is not very important for us in the first cases abroad. It is a bit of a struggle for a small company to get into new markets. So we're pretty much willing to talk about costs individually and find something that works for both parties. The important part for us is to get cases in other countries so that we can work those markets. We really believe in this solution, and we have quite a few proof of concepts from Norway, Sweden. So we'd be happy to do a dialogue. Pretty much
Yeah,
it, I think. Yeah.
I agree. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to either of us. I will also send out a recording of this webinar sometime today or tomorrow if you want to share it with a colleague or something like that. Otherwise, we have another webinar. I think it's next week, if I'm not 18th of February.
Yes, it's on the
That
18th.
it's
It's with, sorry, yeah, it's with Oslo, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is with Oslo, and we're gonna talk more specifically about their views on Meta and our views on Meta and how we rely on third-party channels to to get our communication out as municipalities. So that's going to be interesting. We have a lot of attendees. So if you haven't signed up, you can do that. Otherwise, as I said, we will send out the recording. And if you want to talk to us, just reach out. And I think that's it for today. You agree, Bjarte?
I think so. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Thanks for joining,
Have a
everyone.
good day.
Have a good day. Bye.